work out with his Ari, who also has to be played super aggressive. You know, we've been seeing the LCK, and the general feel is that if you aren't hyper aggressive with this pick, it just doesn't tend to work out. You're much better playing just the traditional mages here. So we'll see if Beyond Gaming can kind of fix their long-term issues going up against a flawless CFO as we head on to the Rift and the Battle of the Banks.
Nothing too surprising here coming out right at the start here, although BYG looking for perhaps a late invade, but if they do that, that's probably just going to end very, very poorly, as there is a 4-man death squad circling around them if they get a little bit too close to that Raptor pit.
Kino's gonna do it. He's poking his head forward, and CFO have read the play. Mission shows up. They will get
Minji's here
some
now.
Stuff here.
Wait.
No, it's actually just a straight 4v4, and they actually find Gemini first, despite walking into a death trap. Liang has
Mission's
over
gone.
the wall, and he's got another kill after that flash. That was... What? How did Beyond Gaming win that? That's absolutely insane.
In the words of Kajol, that was absolutely illegal. But this is the power of Leona, right? With the Aftershock, you're able to just kind of walk in, proc Aftershock immediately, and still be able to survive all of those cooldowns. And as a result, it's going to be CFO off to a poor start, even though I felt like that their level 1 setup was just superior in that regard, but it was not to be. BYG get the start that they dreamed of in this matchup.
Well, I guess they don't have to worry about how to get the mid-game after that. That's for sure. I just want to kind of go over some of the details that happened there. Aftershock was a great point by Kino. He procs that, walks back, and just goes out of vision. And the other thing that we saw right there is Mission was kind of weird to see Mission go out of the brush that late. It looks like he was a little bit hesitating on that move there. Didn't go in as soon as the team started to open up damage there. And also the flash afterwards was definitely a waste of a flash. He just kind of lost track of Liang in that play. So it's kind of weird, because I definitely felt like Mission was kind of out of the loop in that one. And now Husha
now they're going to get a free gank here. No sums.
There's nowhere for him to go. He's just dead. Yep.
Absolutely. Fantastic gank path coming in from Husha, and this is, of course, one of the powers of Rek'Sai, in that you're able to gank from these unorthodox angles. Yes, you can do it somewhat on the Lee Sin as well because of his ability to dash over the walls, but it, of course, doesn't have that same setup in being able to CC a target and immediately just make things so easy for your mid laner to follow up. So, well executed coming in from the side of BYG, and really they're just taking advantage of this early gold lead that they were gifted to continue to snowball around a lane that is really, really hampered.
We are going to get Boots 2 coming out from Minji again. Going to be very hard for Mission to survive this lane. I do expect a lot of lane control having to come out from Gemini just to keep his mid laner alive in this one. And Husha now moving into the bottom lane. We do have both summoners up still for Koala and Atlan. But in the meantime, Wako definitely pouring a little bit of salt on the wound. Just getting a culling right off the base here. He's going to be very happy with that. Leon doing some light trading, and don't really expect anything here due to the vision advantage. But overall, it just seems like a very difficult laning phase for CFO to now contend with.
Yeah, and this is really nice coming in from Wako, being able to get that cull. He's identified that, hey, this Lee Sin probably not going to target me anytime soon because of the fact he has died and lost a little of that pace and how much control we have over the jungle area because of how strong our Rek'Sai is. And now they're going to go ahead, contest Raptors. We'll see how many of them they'll be able to steal away, and it does look like they're able to get really nice control over this area. So this is going to be a play that happens over and over again coming in from Husha, because he knows that the Lee Sin isn't going to be able to clear these very, very quickly, and now he has a gank attempt perhaps on this top side.
Slow does go down onto Rest, but Husha feels like it's a little bit too close to the tower, backs out and waits a little while longer. You can see Rest has those alarm bells tingling in his mind as he throws so many question mark pings across the map. At the end of the day, he will stay relatively safe, and his vision will actually catch Husha here as he goes back into his own jungle. Something I'm super excited about is we do have a serrated dirt coming out from Husha!
Yeah, so we have the serrated dirt. That's, of course, going to lead into one of these lethality items. Hopefully it's the Prowler's Claw. That's definitely a stronger pick when it comes to trying to snowball early game advantages.
Minji is going to ult right in. Does find the charm. Husha comes
kill
in with the flash. Goodbye, Mission. That's his third death this game. I don't think he's died that much in a single game the entire split. CFO do get the Drake for it, but they will be able to walk away. Husha not able to close that surround just quite yet. And Koala walks away very happily from Kino's engage. 3v2 potentially happening right here. Beyond Gaming not going to push it though.
Yeah, it will be CFO, of course, trying to back off, knowing that their mid laner was on a recall. And Liang now able to hit level 6 without any sort of issues. You can look, no difference in CS. And of course, having that extra kill means that he's able to get tier 2 boots early on, which is really, really important in these melee versus range matchups because it just makes up for the gap. And now a fight.
Oh, Atlan gets caught by the Flame Choppers, but is able to cleanse out. Last auto attack goes through, and he still falls down. A little bit too far forward. Koala now the second target. Double kill going over to Wako. Beautifully done. Atlan just gets caught up by Kino and pays dearly for his mistakes.
Yeah, and now we're really starting to see this Beyond Gaming squad come into their own here with, of course, a beautiful early game leading into Gemini really shut out of the game. That means these individual playmakers, this individualistic team is able to go ahead and showcase those individual mechanics here as they get that first kill beautifully done, and beautiful tanking coming in from Kino, understanding we do have a heal, and that extra move speed also used to make sure that last auto goes off sooner rather than later.
Everything going well for CFO right now. The solo lanes, Mission versus Minji going sideways, and the bot lane losing straight 2v2. Now we have another 2v2 coming up here. Can Gemini salvage the situation? Rest goes down before anything can happen. He's trying to look for a kill, but Leon blocks the Q, goes in for more, and finds the double. Great mechanics coming out from Leon, saves his jungler, and picks up even more gold for himself.
And in a battle of unbeatens, Liang's Tryndamere versus CFO's perfect record. It's looking like Liang is going to have that pristine record maintained. And whew, it's looking really, really rough now for CFO, because if you look at their composition, it's not like this composition scales insanely well, right? They're very low range, and this Rise pick, while you're going to get a lot of value out of the tank build with the Frozen Heart against this squad, the issue is you don't deal a whole lot of damage. So the fact that Beyond Gaming are so far ahead means that it's hard to turn things around because you are going the tank build.
Yeah, the problem with them is even when going with the tank build, Beyond Gaming are so fed at this point,
yeah,
they can just burst through. It doesn't even matter. Like, I definitely see like CFO's draft as being a little less coordinated. It's more of a tier list draft. So you have Husha running in, trying to find people here. Not gonna catch anyone out just yet, as Liang knows where the jungler is on the other side of the map. It's gonna go straight in for Rest. No sums on him so far. Undying range not there yet, but he doesn't need it. Finds the kill just as easy as that. Straight walk in onto Rest. And unfortunately, Graves is gonna pay for the sins of his jungler.
And now Liang, he just really gets to tool this matchup. because of the fact he knows as well that Graves doesn't have the ult, he's not worried that he doesn't have his own ultimate. And of course now he's going to have his own ult back up. Means he can once more look for that kill, and this is just going from, I don't even know how to describe it because it's already a disaster for CFO, and it just got turned into a calamity, I suppose.
Yeah, they can't survive any of the plays that Beyond Gaming is throwing at them. I think that's going to be the main issue here. There's so easy to burst people down. We've seen it already plenty of times in this game alone. Husha can just flash on you. If you don't have flash, you're dead. So it's very hard to turtle in these circumstances. We could be seeing that 18-0 dream be shattered right here. And I just want to share with you a post I saw on Beyond Gaming's Facebook. They were basically having CFO laughing like, yeah, we're going to finish the first round with full wins. And then someone comes behind them and it's Beyond Gaming as they come in to shatter CFO's dreams. The meme game from these two squads has been pretty damn on spot.
Yeah, and the big factor here moving forward into these through the game is the fact that we have lucidity boots. Oh, okay.
Leon going in right in front of Gemini might not be the right call as he doesn't even get to pop the ultimate. Gemini finishes him off with the execute.
Wow, okay. So Liang not given the time to use that ultimate to keep himself alive in that moment. It will take to the first death for the side of Beyond Gaming, and CFO, at least they found a trade. The issue is they still lose bot tower and that dragon, so Beyond Gaming still trade up, but at the same time, like CFO, they haven't found any trade so far, so the fact that they were able to get something is positive signs.
It definitely is. At the very least, that's a morale booster when you're down 4,000 gold. I do want to mention the builds here coming out from the top side. We have Leon actually going for the Gale Force. He has put his favorite item, the Hull Breaker, on the side for this one. What do you make of this coming into the matchup against Rest?
I think, well, Gale Force is more than enough against a champion like the Graves where you just want extra sticking power. He was going to go for it regardless. It really just comes down to bypassing the Hull Breaker. And I think Hull Breaker is more of an item that allows you to break an even standing moment or Giga Snowball a certain advantage. But in this moment, the fact that they can just smash CFO in the next team fight, Gale Force really helps you snowball that certain advantage. Instead of just playing in the side lane by yourself, you have more than enough damage to destroy a Graves with just this Gale Force purchase anyways. That why not just build a little bit more team fighty oriented build, and they're going to crack this tier 1 turret as well. So claiming all those turret plates, further extending Liang's lead and further hampering CFO's ability to try and respond because it's just a 4-man death squad now.
Yep, CFO have one less member here and they're going to try, but the ult goes down and they can't run away. Koala will flash out. They find some damage across the wall onto Husha, but not enough. Atlan will finally dissuade them with the Moonlight Vigil. They still lose the tower, but that was a pretty stalwart defense that CFO was able to hold their ground.
Yeah, and Koala will exchange his flash for Husha's flash. At the very least, you trade up somewhat in that situation. But still a very dire situation for the side of the Flying Oysters. Now, we're looking at some of these mythics completed. On the flip side, we have both Everfrost completed here for the mid lane. So really trying to now look for picks. Of course, Mission hasn't really had a say in this game so far with that Realm Warp. So maybe now that he's level 11, he still has a small CS advantage. So it's not like he's that far behind when it comes to individually, if you can even compare, well, the itemization to his respective opponents. But he hasn't been able to actually dictate anything on the map yet.
I do want to mention those are some pretty sad stacks from the Rocks. He didn't get to get his tier on the first back, and it's 15 minutes in the game. He's less than a third of the way towards completing a tier here. So, this is probably the worst game we've seen from Mission in terms of a laning perspective. And not completely his fault for sure, but definitely not going as smoothly as he wanted it to.
Absolutely, and part of the reason why he goes for a late tier is because he just needs more combat stats because of how much attention has been thrown to his lane. So he gets the early Merc Treads, he gets, of course, the extra health from the Everfrost build, and that's helped him bridge to this tier finally. And the tier is still going to stack up relatively quickly because you are Rise, but certainly that power spike will get delayed, and that might be enough for BYG really to close this game out in the next team fight. That's really the big window that they're looking for. This next team fight, if they get a 4-5-man wipe, that should essentially just bring this game to somewhat of a insurmountable lead.
We do have that 5-man push coming in now. Shelly isn't even damaged on the first push. Gemini looking for an angle. He isn't spotted just yet. I believe he is now on the radar, though, because of that Rek'Sai. Husha doing a very good job sticking to the wall and making sure that Gemini doesn't find an angle. Beyond Gaming not going to push this one too far, but they do have a Hextech Drake on the table here. And unfortunately for CFO, they're just not going to contest. Like, as you said about that tier build, I think it's a pretty clear signal that Mission is just saying, well, we don't even have a mid game. Oh, that's so unlucky from Gemini. But fortunately for him, Minji's not going to press his luck here.
Yeah, he understands a lot of his team are on that objective down in that bottom side of the map, so he just decides, hey, I'll just hold on to this ult cooldown. I'm not going to take large risks, because I don't know who's there to back up Gemini in that situation. Usually when a jungler jumps through the Hex Gate, it could mean a couple more people are also following the jungler through the Hex Gate, so I can understand why he's a little more reserved on trying to take that play.
Yep, Gemini also still had the flash, so it likely would have been able to make an escape if he so chose to. Meanwhile, we are just getting into the phase where Beyond Gaming is, I think, setting up for the Baron at this point. They're so strong. Their burst damage is absolutely insane. I do want to ask you about kind of your favorite builds for the Aries, because we have seen a lot of Aries actually go straight for the Tet Cap. Like, it is a very powerful item. She has insane damage ratios, and she has true damage as well, so sometimes you can just kind of go over that. You can't just decide to just skip the void staff or the blighted jewel in some cases. Just because of the fact that you do have true damage added to your Q, it's just so much burst damage that they can't really ever itemize against unless if they're really stacking a lot of health. Kino might have overstepped though, or could be Koala. Definitely looks like Koala in this step. Kino has been so good at walking himself into traps and surviving them. I think he's doing it pretty intentionally, knows that CFO have to get vision. Gonna pick up an easy one there, and now we have a 3-0-0 Wako with bounties as well. So there's multiple points that people really have to focus down. CFO can't really find anyone to burst down. Leon just goes in, gets the ultimate from Rest, and continues the push for his team. No answer, still a 3-man stack here on the bottom side. They have to be careful about Minji, who could be trying to intercept. Let's see if Mission... Oh, he's got that spider senses, is not gonna walk through. Maybe they do spot him on the ward, but Beyond Gaming will still take the bottom lane tower for it.
Yeah, and another interesting adaptation coming in from Rest is the fact that he has also forgone the Hullbreaker, and it makes a lot of sense here because even with Hullbreaker resistances, given how far behind you are against a Tryndamere, it won't matter. So he's gone forward to try and give himself the best opportunity to make an impact in these team fights while still being, he's still going to be okay I mean, he's not going to be that much worse of a spot against Tryndamere because it's already pretty bad. So I like the build adaptation coming in from Rest as well in this instance. And going back to your question about the Ahri build, I do like the adaptation Minji has made in this particular game, going for both Lucidity Boots and the Everfrost, because you really just want to maximize your pick potential against CFO to snowball your advantages here.
Rest instantly has to pop the Ghost to get away from Liang. Liang holding on to both of his summoners, but now he's going to turn around on Rest. That was a very interesting play here. On the other side, we have the Baron take being started. 3-man on the bottom lane. Gemini has to do this one alone. We have Atlan and Koala slowly moving in. They are going to try for this one. There is going to be no smite difference in Season 12. And a lot of damage being done to Kino. Beyond Gaming starting to back out of the pit. Is CFO going to hold here? Yes! The Baron is healing back up, and CFO do defend on both sides, though they still have to chase a very pesky Liang around their own jungle.
Yeah, it will be the side of CFO having a very admirable defense around that Baron buff, able to deter the side of Beyond Gaming from fully committing to that objective. Kino almost... not sure what Kino was trying to do. I know he wanted to keep the Baron aggro still on, but unfortunately, he almost ends up giving his own life away in that situation. So, CFO, I mean, it's still a bad spot, by all means, but they've given themselves that lifeline by continuing to stave BYG off. And for BYG, this is where they hit a bit of a trough when it comes to their team play, because they aren't the most coordinated squad in the PCS, especially for a top team. So they're really contingent on finding these picks, like where Koala was.
I've been with Beyond Gaming to Worlds, and I can completely attest to what you've been saying. They play around picks. They play around kills. They're super bloodthirsty. When I'm in their comms, I don't really hear much about a wave control or like teamfight setup. It's about getting kills across the board, and they're very good at it, as we see another flash being burned away by Rest. No sums on him so far. The next dragon is going to be so incredibly hard for CFO to contest. They're going to be down so many summoners at this point, and honestly, Beyond Gaming could just turn around for Baron and pick people off as they come in. Very tense moment for CFO. Let's see if Gemini can find a pick here. We've seen great insects from him, and we've seen Wako be the victim of those insects, so perhaps there is a chance here. See if they can find a flank. Koala slowly moving in. Minji is going to tag him with the charm. Everfrost goes down. Kino goes in. The fight is on. Pusha about to find that kill. It will be Wako across the wall. It's a double kill straight off the bat. Atlan has to retreat behind a wall, and that should be Baron unguarded over to Beyond Gaming.
Should be a very easy Baron take at this point for the side of Megabank Beyond Gaming here, as they are now up 12 kills to 1. Absolute domination when it comes to bloodthirst and really complete map control here. So CFO, you're going to have to concede this Baron, and it's really all about the Baron defense. And unfortunately for them, they don't exactly have the best wave clear from range. It's going to be very, very risky for them to actually walk up and clear some of these waves. So it will be a very difficult defense of their base as well.
Beautiful play coming in from Minji. Staying out of vision of that ward was so smart, as he hides in the corner right there, gets his full combo. And I just don't envy being Koala in this game, walking around the map in a massive deficit with no flash. I can't even blame the guy for having to do that play, as we see Rest now being the target. Still has his Ghost, but it's going to be hard for him to make an escape. Does dodge out on Kino. Will get slowed down. Stun not there. Wako walks back to avoid the damage, and Husha is here to pick up the kills. Does have that chilling smite. Let's see how long Rest can delay this. Just doesn't seem like quite enough. Doesn't hit the minion wave either. He would have been able to maybe push a wave in, but isn't going to be able to accomplish that one. And we just have a freight train heading towards the base here, as Beyond Gaming send a 3-man push towards the bottom side. CFO, everyone has to retreat from this one. Mission might fancy his chances in a 1v1 here, and he does actually have a decent chance of making it out.
Yeah, I mean, for sure he's going to be able to walk out of any trade against the Tryndamere because he does have that ultimate. He is relatively tanky, but this is the big power spike, right? And the fact that he's now completed the Frozen Heart, he's very, very close to completing the Thimble Winder.
Oh no,
and
Koala.
that will be...
Koala trying to dodge, but
Okay.
overplays his hand, stays in range way too long. Minji going across the wall, now finding a charm onto Mission, but
Still
does he
tanky.
overplay that as well? Does have the Zanyas, goes back across the
Kino's
wall.
deep.
Now it's Kino's turn. They can't save him. It's about saving Private Kino.
Young's hunting!
Oh, but he gets kicked back. Great move from Gemini. It's not going to stop him out forever, though. He goes in and Waka follows up. Is going to get excited. They do pick up 3 kills going into the enemy base, and it is wide open now. The inhibitor soon to follow. It looked pretty dicey on a couple of occasions, but Beyond Gaming make it work.
Yeah, but the big thing is, for the side of CFO, they are able to find kills, which means that this game should continue, and it won't be the base absolutely shattered. And that's massive for them, because if they can keep buying time, yes, they're going to give over Hextech Soul, but their best opportunity to get back into this game and win the game is through Elder Dragon, and I think they've done enough to prolong the game around another 3 minutes, or at least until that next Baron does spawn. So while their best chance is going to come after that Baron buff, at least it gives them a chance to make it.
I just want to say Elder Dragon's actually still pretty far off. Beyond Gaming are only at 3 drinks. So, well, they did buy them that 3 minutes for sure. We're going to be taking another look at these plays. Really cool stuff from both sides. Atlan and Gemini did about as much as you could possibly do in that situation. They do hold off for sure. And now we still go back into a state where Beyond Gaming has a massive advantage onto the map. There's so many different ways that they could honestly play this one. What do you think is the most effective strategy for Beyond Gaming to close this one off?
For Beyond Gaming, it really just comes down to use this Hextech Soul. Maybe you wait for the next Baron buff and really leverage your 4-1 potential, because of course Liang is just so giga huge at this point. He is the Giga Chad at the moment, and if you're able to then leverage that, like, for sure the game ends on this next Baron buff, barring a very disastrous blunder coming in from BYG, just because they have so many fight stats advantages. This Hextech Soul is so good for their team as well because of how attack speed reliant they are, and the amount of pick potential they can generate with the extra ability haste on top of it. So they can also look to just try and end here because of that extra battle stats.
There's very few targets that CFO can focus here. 3 stasises on Beyond Gaming and 1 Undying Rage.
Yeah.
You could probably just kill Kino. That's the only one that reasonably you could find dead.
And
Beyond
even then, the issue there is they don't have the damage to burst through a target like Kino, because we have Atlan.
Kino's just walking up Mission, just getting charmed, rooted, stunned, and falls down just
They have
like
no
that.
damage.
I don't know what he was doing there. Atlan's going to go down next. That's the
it.
2 carries. Beyond Gaming is going to strike 1 for Mega Bank, and that's 4 down. Rest does find 1 back, but it doesn't matter anymore. Beyond Gaming with the biggest win of the first round robin, saved the best for last as they take down CFO and shatter the dreams of CTBC Flying Oyster of making it an 18-0 split.